So again, these are the practical considerations to build into the plan. And with slave play, I think you do have some practical considerations, as I've said, and sort of discussed a couple of times. You've got some timing issues. You've got geographic issues. You know what your budget is. You want to have a fast reach build because you've got to build awareness that the run is continuing and people can still get tickets. So you need to list that in your plan presentation. Obviously, it's part of your key part of your thinking. So that's just an overview of how to approach media planning. At the point where you've laid out all these things, you next start to select media type and the specific property, the specific vehicle you want to be in. So if it's prime time, what show do you want to be in? And of course, prime time, I'm not even sure is going to exist within a couple of years unless it's for sports. But all those things are the thinking and the background and the building the foundation. And then you apply all those selection criteria, etc., to choosing media, choosing vehicles, figuring out how much it's going to cost, allocating your budget. You don't allocate your budget as the first thing coming out of the gate. It's part of a process of seeing how important things are, seeing how much it's going to cost. A number of you showed flighting in your media plans for slave play. Flighting means the medium runs for a while, then it stops, then it runs, then it stops. The reason for doing this is normally that budgetary. You know, we just can't afford to have a continuous presence during the 3 or 4 months in this medium. So we're going to start off with it to build awareness, then we're going to come back at a lower level after a month, you know. So the budget allocation is not early. It's part of this whole creative and scientific process. Okay, now, shifting gears, I want to review the PowerMat plan that I shared with you as part of your team preparation of your first take on the slave play media plan. And so let me set the stage a little bit on PowerMat. PowerMat is a company. It's an Israeli technology. And hopefully you looked up how it works. I don't know how prevalent it really is anymore, but the concept was that rather than plugging in a bunch of different devices and having a lot of wires when you charged, that you could have one device you could basically set different items on. The device itself, the mat, would be plugged in, and then without wires, the mat would charge all the devices that you put on top of it. That's the basic concept. So it's charging a bunch of devices without wires with a power mat. It's a technology that was developed in Israel by some people that I had worked with on a previous project that I'm going to talk about more in a minute. Now, by the way, the devices each need to have an input also. They need to be set up to accept the power mat charge. That's something else that needed to be explained to customers, but that's the basic product idea. Now, I'm going to give you some background on how I got involved with PowerMat. As I said, I was involved with the technology that the same people in Israel developed for a company we called Magink. Now, by the way, the original name of the company was E-Magin, eMagin. I actually, when I came on board to them as head of worldwide marketing, I encouraged them, and they took my recommendation to change the name of the company because E Magin was already owned by another company. They had the URL, and we somehow cooked up, you know what, drop the E and add a K, and you've got Magink. So this is actually an amazing, amazing technology. It's the world's first full-color digital ink display. And before I play you a short video demonstrating it, these are the Israeli headquarters, by the way. That's where this display was set up. The Israeli headquarters were outside of Jerusalem. It's on the road from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in a little town called Neve Ilan. Some of you may or may not have heard of. And this display was set up there. Now, the way Magink works is the way the technology works is it's like a Kindle, okay, conceptually. Kindle technology was developed by a company called E-Ink. And Kindle is electronic ink. If you have a Kindle, you know that it does not really come with a backlit display. Unlike your TV set, which is an LED display or an LCD display, there's no light that has to happen to make you be able to see the image. It's like a piece of paper. If you turn the lights out with a Magink display, or by the way, an E-Ink display, you can't see the display unless it comes with a separate backlight. So it's not like your computer screen. There's no light being generated. Now, as a result, it's got very low power usage. So basically, what you're looking at is a display where there's a liquid, there's a material that's put between very thin layers of something like glass, and this material takes electrical charges, and based on the length and some other things about the charge it gets, it reflects different colors. It reflects RGB, red, green, blue. Again, quite amazing. Now, E-Ink, the Kindle display, is not full color. It will never be full color. This one is actually full color. So I'm going to show this to you now. It may not look like much, but it's a quite amazing technology. Let's take a look. Okay. I joined Magink. I left a company called 1-800-Flowers. I joined Magink as Chief Marketing Officer, and it was a startup based in Israel. I was traveling all over the world trying to convince outdoor advertising companies to adopt Magink technology and digitize their billboards and use Magink as the display to digitize the billboards. Actually, key lesson there is it's very hard to sell two major things at one time. Either sell digitizing billboards or sell the technology, but don't try to sell both. It's too much at once. In fact, Magink was not the preferred technology for digitizing billboards. The preferred technology was LED. And when you go to Times Square, you'll see all the LED billboards. And all the billboards you see on the sides of roads and highways now are LEDs. Magink technology, in fact, did not end up cutting the mustard. There was a problem in the reproduction of colors, particularly the red, which is a very, very hard color to reproduce. Anyway, I was with Magink for a few years, and the company kind of fizzled. And the same team came back with another technology called PowerMat. Now, by the way, one of the things I did when I was at Magink was hire the same PR agency. I used at 800-Flowers, a PR agency called Bratskier, small independent PR agency, and we got a placement in the New York Times. And in the technology section of the New York Times, which doesn't even exist anymore, by the way. There's no separate technology section. We got a front page article, and they came to see a display that we had put up in New Jersey and wrote an amazing piece about the technology. This is an example of earned media reaching, and this was read all over the world, by the way. It also appeared in the International Herald Tribune, which was owned by the New York Times. So literally it was read all over the world, India, China, all over the place. People interested in technology read about us. And it actually got a number of people to give us money to get the distribution rights to the technology. But again, it ended up not really going anywhere, unfortunately. But I went on to other things, they went on to other things, but they came back to me to help them launch PowerMat in the U.S. I consulted to the PowerMat group, which was the same technology people that had got me into MagicInc, to help them pull together marketing for the launch of PowerMat in the U.S. in the fourth quarter of 2009. So I attended planning sessions and helped them get things together, their strategies and their thinking, and then I actually attended the first presentation from the media agency they had hired, which is called Maxis, which you have to look it up if it still exists, but it was under one of the big, huge agency conglomerate umbrellas at the time. And what's been happening in the ad agency business all over the world is all kinds of consolidation. So anyway, I was there as a consultant. I was there with the product manager for PowerMat. The meeting was, I think, in late spring or June. I mean, it was, just a few, very close to the launch of PowerMat. I'm actually going to stop now, and then I'm going to do my best to take you through the deck. Again, I watched it, so I didn't present it, and I asked questions. But I'm going to do my best to tell you what the agency was trying to do with their presentation.